the ruckus. I hesitate to call it that, but I have no better diction to put it. The ruckus going on within the opposition forces in parliament. It's the most disturbing thing right now. We are really disturbed because those are our frontline troops at parliament. And one would expect that when you're at a battlefront, you need to rally in a single file. You need to point all the guns at the enemy, the daggers, not against each other. So that is really disturbing to us. We would call our colleagues, would ask them across board. We are not talking about the FDC MPs, all the MPs in different political formations, political parties. We need to put our house in order to confront the challenges of the day. To begin with, there have been attempts at amending the law regarding, I don't want to call it erecting, but there has been attempts before at amending the law regarding the constitution of the opposition leadership in the House. You know the current position. The Administration of Parliament Act of 2006, the amendment of 2006, of course, it has been there since colonial days. It was last updated in, it was first updated in 1964. We have the laws of Uganda, laws of Uganda, the edition of 1964. Then there was also an update in 2000, not an amendment, but there was an amendment that was made in 2006. I was in Parliament. I was the Shadow Attorney General at that time. And it came on the heels of the opening up of the political space, at least on paper. Because you remember, until that time, we had the movement political system in place. And we had to fight valiantly to ensure that it is decapitated, is destroyed, the movement political system. At the different fronts, political front and also legal front. And we succeeded in 2003-04 there. You recall the events leading up to the opening up of the space, where they had even to organize that hopeless or bogus referendum between a tree and a house. And the message was very clear to General Kaguta Museveni: you have no choice. And surprisingly, Museveni supported that tree because the tree symbolized the multi-party democracy and the house for the movement. Can you imagine the progenitor of the movement political system, the champion of the movement political system at that time, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, moved across the entire country in support of the house, or rather the tree. That was an irony. It was a paradox. Because he's the one who initiated, allegedly, he's the one, the progenitor, the founder of that philosophy, the movement political system. Then he turned around and said he was supporting multi-party democracy in that referendum. He supported the tree as against the house. But that was true doing Ugandans, that was opening up political space, which was never the case. So fast forward, in 2006, the Administration of Parliament Act, which was hitherto ingrained within the movement political system, had to be amended to provide for the constitution of the opposition leadership in the House. One, to create the office of the leader of opposition. Two, to vest with that office powers to appoint cabinet minister. That is to constitute the leadership of the opposition in the parliament. And we had also issues at that time because at that those days I subscribed to DP, and the FDC was the majority party in the House, and the FDC conducted an election. I think it was between Ogenga Latigo, Right Honorable, and Sam Kaleganjula, if I'm not mistaken. In accordance with that act. And ultimately, the voice of the party spoke in unison that it is the Honorable Maurice Ogenga Latigo. There were voices from DP that said we shall not be party to that government. Actually, they threatened to recall us if we participated in that government. In my religion, we call it fatwa, but an ultimatum was issued by the party headquarters. The Secretary General then, he said, if we see any member of the DP joining the FDC government, they will be subjected to disciplinary action. Of course, we protested, and to cut the long story short, we participated in that government, and I was accordingly appointed as a shadow Attorney General or Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs in the FDC government. And we struggled against a very, very hostile environment, walking a very tight rope to constitute that government and to have a solid force in Parliament. It was a real struggle. And since then, we have been building on that. Various political parties in the opposition coalescing behind the majority party in the House. That is the principle of multi-party democracy. Because the ruling party constitutes government and elects or appoints the leader of government business. But the alternative government, headed by the majority party in the opposition, or a party with the numerical strength in the opposition constituting a government. That is the basis of multi-party democracy. Now, what is causing the harabaru right now, the ruckus I'm talking about? There were voices in DP at that time, and of course subsequently from other parties, that the leader of opposition should be elected by all the political parties in opposition. Unfortunately, that position is dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. Because the leader of opposition is not a class monitor. That you are having a class or a head boy. That you are having a school and you are electing. No. You'll be killing multi-party democracy for you. No. Let me put it differently. If you embrace that idea, that thinking, that the leader of opposition is a dean of all members of parliament subscribing to the opposition, and therefore he should be elected by all the political parties, including independents, you are killing the spirit of multi-party democracy. That is dangerous. Because the mandate of the political party with the numerical strength in the opposition is derived from the people. It derives from the people. For the last 20 years, since 2001, the people of Uganda have been electing Dr. Kizza Besigye. And from 2006, he subscribed to FDC from 2006. So to be a negation of the will of the people, if again you took away the mandate of constituting the leadership of parliament from the majority party in the opposition, you will be defeating the spirit of the constitution, where power is derived from the people. So it's the reason for us we are opposed to any amendment, to any attempt to tinker. We are opposed to an amendment to tinker with a position that provides for the authority of the majority party in the opposition. Because you are not the majority party in the opposition, but tomorrow you'll be one. Or tomorrow you'll be in the government. Who tells you that we are destined to be in the opposition for eternity? No. So, in a nutshell, let us not bastardize multi-party democracy. Let us not distort multi-party democracy. It has principles, it has got pillars on which it is anchored. That philosophy of multi-party democracy is anchored on particular philosophies. We shouldn't distort or bastardize those particular principles. I want to sum it up like this. If you create a situation or a system where the leader of opposition is elected by all the political parties subscribing to, including independents who may be aligned to the NRM or any other party that will be in the government after 2026, then you'll be bastardizing or distorting multi-party democracy. And we should resist against that. Related to that, we are making a call to our colleagues in the House. Put your house in order. Put your troops in order. It does no harm for the MPs to sit and harmonize their respective positions. We are concerned that at this rate, Mr. Museveni, through his proxy, Anita Among, is making inroads in our backyard, in the parliament. And we need to put a buffer there. We need to put a bulwark. Because as events unfold today, it's really disturbing. We agonize at that fact that Anita Among is making serious inroads into the opposition, succeeding to create that schism in the House. It's unnecessary. Those schisms, rather, not that. Those schisms, the kind of faulty lines within the opposition created by the manipulative politics of Anita Among. We should resist against it. Seems now she's succeeding in creating those fissures so that tomorrow you will see our colleagues at each other's neck. Lastly, on that issue still, the spirit of the law, the Administration of Parliament Act, the amendment of 2006, made a provision for the majority party in opposition to consult other political parties in constituting the leadership. But the word used is may, and this is where we are making a call. This is what it provides. In constituting, in electing the leader of opposition, the majority party in the opposition may consult other political parties in the opposition that are represented in the parliament. The word is may. And I think there is a reason why they made, because it is desirable for the parties to be consulted, for other political parties to be, definitely, it is desirable. That's what civilization calls for. You know, civility demands that once you are doing that, you create harmony, consensus, you generate consensus. So it was meant to help parties generate consensus when constituting the leadership of the opposition, or appointing or electing the leader of opposition. But it was never meant to be a clog on the process of establishing the leadership of parliament. That's why it's not couched in mandatory terms, that the majority party in the opposition shall consult if they wanted it to be that way. But they also, I think in their wisdom, they realized that supposing you make it mandatory that the majority party in the opposition must consult other political parties before electing the leader of opposition, and they decide unreasonably to withhold their consent, what happens? There would be a stalemate. So that's why it was left on the discretion of the political party that is electing the leader of opposition, that you may consult or may not consult. But for me, I believe, and for us, not actually, for us, we believe it is good manners and good practice to consult. But where consultation is not done, it's not a crime. And our call to the leader of opposition to see that there is harmony in the House, to continue with the struggle of getting rid of the junta, because that is a very important front in the fight against dictatorship. So right now, the clarion call we are making, Right Honorable Leader of Opposition, make sure that you call the House, you call the colleagues to order, create harmony, create, try as much as possible to unite the forces we have at Parliament, because we are talking about united forces of change. If we are talking about united forces of change outside the precincts of Parliament, within the political domain, within the body politic generally in the country, it should start with the House. Let us start with the colleagues in the House to have a common front. Then political parties also have a common front, and the people of Uganda also having the same, a political front, because that's what we need today. We want a common front to get rid of the junta. That is the position we wanted to make, and we thank you very much.